Welcome, guys. It is so good to have you guys all here on what's going to be an epic evening of learning all about Kangen. What is Kangen? I'm just going to get my screen up. Bear with me one sec, guys. Now give me a heads up if you can see that. Nicola? Yep, perfect. Welcome. Oh my God. Some of you will know me. A lot of you will know me. I'm Melissa Ava George. It is so good to have you guys here. And I'm hosting alongside Nicola and her husband, Nick. And we are really excited to share with you this evening tonight, an evening of diving in and educating ourselves, because I truly believe education is power. The more we feel educated, the more empowered we are to really move on this planet in a way that is just going to benefit us. Okay, so tonight we present to you Hydrate to Elevate, where you're going to learn how electrolyzed reduced water can be your catalyst for your health and your wealth. So we are excited to share the unique health benefits of ionized water versus other water, and incredible testimonials on the power of this water. The additional uses to protect your family's health and to create a low tox oasis in your home, and how to obtain your own and thrive financially if you choose to. So why us? I'm going to start with myself, a bit about myself. For those that don't know, I am a passionate and conscious mama of three girls. Lucky me. 3 girls. I'm also a stepmom to a 21-year-old son. And I've been in the hairdressing industry for 23 years. And it brought me into the holistic health space, where my health declined rapidly 5 years ago. I had heavy metal toxicity and my body was shutting down. So this is really where my journey started here with Kangen, because I was reacting to absolutely everything, and diving into holistic health, discovered, wow, water is just a huge component of our health and wellness. So this is where I became a holistic health coach. I'm now a business coach and an absolute water lover. So that journey started when I got really ill from having breast implants. This is where the toxic load, I was bedridden. I was so ill, and my symptoms just kept increasing to the point where I actually wrote my will out, because I had a major infection that caused sepsis and I was nearly not going to make it. So come full circle, thank God I am here, and that was my decider. I had to change things. I had to change things because me walking out of that hospital, I was just not the same person. I was awakened to so many things in the health, the health industry, the medical industry, and I just was not the same. My thoughts weren't the same. So I dived in a lot deeper and discovered so much of what we're, being told is just, a lot of it's a lie. And it really brought me to a lot of the truth of what we're consuming in our bodies, what we're drinking, and I was able to change that for myself. So I took charge of my health. I'm also a coach in NLP and timeline therapy, and this was another component of me really transforming my life, because I've always said we don't put all our eggs in one basket, and even in health there are so many things that we need to change in order to really live a healthy life. And a big part of that was our mind and our language and how we walk through this life that we live. So I am very passionate about supporting people in healing past generational cycles and living thriving futures. And I'm a big advocate for bodily autonomy and having our freedom of choice, our choice to choose how we live this life, our choices for our health, our choices for absolutely everything. And, I became a big fighter of that, especially for my children. And here we have Nicola and Nick, okay? They are both health practitioners and partners in crime in life. and having their holistic health clinic, the PH clinic, down in the Northern Beaches for the last 9 years. Nicola is a colonic hydrotherapist and GAPS practitioner, and Nick is a registered chiropractor. And they have 3 kids, and they prioritize health in every aspect of their life and community. And they want others to reclaim their health, as it is our birthright, without having to rely on doctors, practitioners, or medication to thrive. And they will speak a little bit more to that as we move on, but I'm just so excited for them to share so much magic, guys. You are going to walk away from this evening feeling so much more clarity around what you may think that you know versus what's being put out there and all the hype and all these words and terms. You're really going to understand what this amazing device is all about. So you're here because you're health conscious and you want to look after yourself and your family and learn how electrolyzed reduced water can benefit you. You experience signs of dehydration like fatigue, lightheadedness, headaches, thirst, regardless of how much you drink. You wish you had more physical energy to enjoy life. You're stressed out, burnt out, sick, or even been sick in the past. You have come a long way with your health journey, but really want to take it to the next level. You're looking to thrive personally and professionally. You want to drink the best available water, considering how much you consume all day, every day. Or you're passionate about health and wellness, and you want to create a huge impact in other people's lives. And I love this quote, and it says, all the significant biological processes in your body are dependent on water. The inside of your cells are mainly water. Okay, and you're going to learn a lot about this now moving forward in the next slides as I pass it on to Nicola and Nick. And this is where I truly discovered that it is not just about our food or our lifestyle. We are made up of, as you can see, all our cells are made up of water, and I'm so excited that we get to share this with you guys tonight. So I'm going to pass it over to Nick and Nicola, and they're going to take you through these next slides. So feel free, if you've got a notebook and a pen or anything, just to take it down, to really allow yourself to immerse in this and take in everything and enjoy.
Thanks, Mel. That's really exciting. So I'm going to start with basically what is Kangen Water. Some of you may have experienced Kangen Water before, or maybe this is a completely new term for you. But Kangen Water is the water that comes from a Kangen device. So it is a registered name. It is not a type of source water per se. And it's basically ionized water. So the ionized process creates the water to be far more superior than tap water, filtered water, bottled water, and there are many other, ways in which you can change water, whether it be with magnetism, crystals, all sorts of kind of, funky ways. Whereas the ionization process via an enagic Kangen water filter has been shown to be superior among the whole gamut of them. So when a Kangen water device is utilized, basically the first part is filtration. But I'm a big believer that that is only 20% of the equation. So if you're currently drinking filtered water, I'd love you to drop a 1 in the comments. And if you are currently drinking tap water, I'd love you to drop a 2 in the comments. So a lot of us are doing the best we can with the information that we've got, but understanding the depths of what happens to water and the water that we should be consuming that is ideal for our health, for our cells. It's taken me years of understanding from generally Nick's explanation. He has a really comprehensive background in chemistry and science and really loves all those topics. but the Kangen Water device is a registered medical device. So the technology was originally used in hospitals throughout Japan, and in more recent times, they actually created one for home use. So it's registered as a medical device in Japan, even the ones that we have here in our home. And that process itself is a very lengthy, difficult process to get certification for. And the quality of what the device is made out of is what allows that certification to hold strong. So they pioneered the technology, and they've been doing this for over 50 years. And although many have tried to copy or, what's the word?
Borrow the concept.
Yeah, borrow the concepts. Enagic is still really leading the charge. And the water that you get from the device is alkalized as opposed to alkaline. Now, the main difference here is that it is done via electrolysis, which is not by adding things to the water. So we're not adding anything to the water. The water is changed inside the device via a charge. So there are titanium plates that are dipped in a very high quality platinum, and an electrical charge runs through these plates, and the water, after it goes through the filter, it goes through these plates, and Nick's going to touch on more as to what happens electrically to the water. But basically the water is split and the chemistry of the water is altered, creating a more superior water than what we would get from Warragamba Dam or your tanks from rainwater, because that type of water, that's called immature water. And that is not what our body and our cells were evolved to utilize to thrive. So therefore, our bodies are constantly looking for things like electrons in our environment and in our water. And if they are not there, then they will simply take the electrons from us to fulfill the water's need to possess those things. So the water that we are getting from our Enagic Kangen water devices is electrolyzed reduced water, which means it's acting as an antioxidant. It is negatively charged, it is structured, and it is hydronium and hydroxide rich. We are not adding anything to the water. We are simply creating incredible water through chemistry. Not chemistry, physics. So a little bit about oxidative stress. So this term is thrown around a lot, and I'm sure we've all heard it before, but what actually is oxidative stress when we boil it down into the body? So oxidative stress and chronic inflammation is the root cause of many diseases and illnesses. And oxidative stress is the result of losing energy from within to outside entropy. Now, Nick's going to talk more about that second paragraph, but I'm just going to give you an analogy of what oxidative stress is in the body, or more so how it is caused. So I touched on electrons just before, in how we require electrons. Our cells require electrons in order to operate and be healthy. So our body is made up of cells, and our cells are made up of molecules. And now I want you to imagine two children at a park. They are representing our molecules. And then they're playing with one toy. And the toy is representative of an electron. Now, because there is only one toy, they need to share that toy. But as we know, kids are questionable with sharing. So when one child snatches the toy from the other, it is the snatching that creates the oxidative stress. So in order to minimize the oxidative stress, you would provide more toys, you would provide more electrons. But it is the inability to share electrons that creates the oxidative stress in the body. Nico, do you want to speak to that second paragraph a little?
Yeah, it's the lack of electrons. So Nico said it really nicely. If there were more electrons, then you wouldn't need to pilfer the first toy from the first kid. And it's the strain that causes that is said under the adage of oxidative stress. So there's a key word in the second paragraph there called entropy. And entropy is the reason that you die. And so basically the game is you will lose to the house, you will die at some point, but how rapidly and how much laden with suffering that departure is completely up to you. It's completely up to how you manage your energy. And entropy is the act of losing more energy to the environment than you're able to foster within yourself and you're able to reclaim. And so the game is, how do you engineer your life and your practices internally and externally, in your dwelling, in your protective layer, in your practices, in your belief systems as well, to minimize the loss of energy to the environment. Thanks, Mel. Okay, so there's a way we can measure whether the water that you drink has the power to give you electrons, or, like the child in Nicola's analogy, the power to steal electrons from something else. So the P in the ORP in the top right of your corner stands for potential. So what potential does the water have when it interacts with something else? If it has an oxidative, the O in the ORP, if it has an oxidizing potential, it has the ability to pull electrons, steal electrons from something else. And if that something else was really happy with those electrons, it can cause instability or friction or damage to the things that it takes it from. So as in nature, everything is always being oxidized and reduced. That's how the flux of everything stays stable, and that's how life is dynamic and evolving. But when the scales tip too far to one or the other, and our world, the way we've structured things, our world is heavily engineered towards oxidative forces. If the scales tip too far, then imbalance occurs. And nature will make short work of an imbalance. It'll basically turn you into recyclable parts and get rid of you. And so the power that your water has will either oxidize your body further, or it will assist in reducing, which is a stupid word, I don't know why the chemists came up with it, will assist in reducing the chemistry in your body. And the word reducing carries with it a sort of a vernacular, but it's the act of giving electrons. So think of it like Santa. It's giving more toys back to your body. So you want to consume things, drink, eat, sunlight, that in the right doses and in the right framework in your body gives you more electrons, because our bodies don't sit at neutral. The cells in our body, which is synonymous with pH regulation, the cells must be slightly negative. And that has to do with the ability to not have a free flow of things coming in and out of the cell. We won't go into that. But if the cell loses its ability to be integral because of this slightly negative charge, then we start to open the door for pathologies all the way through to all of the what's called Neolithic disease processes that we're seeing ubiquitously around us, including cancer that occurs at a very specific voltage. So the more reducing your water can be, the more negative the ORP number can be, the more it helps you beat entropy and stay alive with energy for longer. It's just that simple. And when you consume food that provides electrons, which a lot of foods do, fresh food, seafood, those sorts of things, they have heaps of electrons in them, don't get me wrong. But your body then has to extract the electrons from that. And so at best, it's estimated that food will provide you with no more than 33% of your required energy yields to beat entropy. And that's on the assumption that you're eating impeccably, which is really hard to do with modern lifestyles as well. Thanks, Mel. Yep. happy if I just keep rolling?
Yeah.
Yeah. So everyone talks about structured water, right? So what does that actually mean? Like it's such a term that people tend to hide behind, and it's so ambiguous, it's so debatable. And a lot of companies, including Magic, that use the notion of structured water come under a little bit of fire because of it. So let me try and provide a little bit of background to what structured water is so that you can feel more comfortable with using that term. So structure literally means the more structured it is, the more ordered it is. So it's less chaotic. So in chemistry, the more ordered something is, the more it appears as real and material and robust. The less structured it is, the more chaotic it is. The more chaos there is, the more things are bouncing around and hitting one another, the more chance you have of oxidative stress. So structure is really synonymous with energy. And when we're talking about whether or not you stay alive and you stay well, really at the crux of it, we're talking about energy. So the more energized your water can be, the more innate structure it will have, because it will be more ordered and it will be more likely to give you life-giving properties, which we're reducing down to something like an electron here and a charge, but it's way more beautiful than that if we're honest, right? So nature does this really well. So the life cycle of water is really beautiful. I'm not going to go into it because of time constraints, but basically when water comes up from a spring to be a stream, it has very, very uniform properties regardless of where that is. It usually contains an enormous amount of energy, specifically 25 million kilowatt hours per cubic centimeter. If you've ever paid your energy bill, have a look at how much energy your house uses and then just cross-reference it with what I just said. We're talking about enormous energy potential, and it maintains that energy while it meanders down through beautiful rivers that are never straight. And that's really important because it's the lack of straightness in the rivers that create the spirals and the eddies that retain the life force in the water. All the while the water is giving life. We know this. We know it provides the nourishment for plants, and then the animals eat the plants, and then other animals eat that, and so on and so forth, right? But it does that in a way that's fair. Like it's not just life full at the head of the spring and then everything else is bereft and dead. It manages to charge itself up all the way down, netting out its energy equitably right until it's pretty much flat. It's all energyless, just at the point where it's about to puncture out and become the ocean. Then in the ocean, the sun hits it, evaporates, it cruises across as cloud, it drops rain in the form of precipitation. And then depending on the type of soil that it lands on, it either stays on top and rushes back off and doesn't undergo this beautiful maturity cycle, or it seeps through the ground, gets heavier by virtue of getting cooler, and which is also synonymous with energy and structure, goes down and then hits all this evaporative air coming back up from the Earth's core. And it's in this big explosion that it gets all its minerals and all those things that people that want to add minerals later usually put on a pedestal. But they miss the point, and we're going to get to that in a second, because the real essence of that water when it leaves the spring is the energy that's contained within it, not just the mineral content. And so nature does this naturally, except we don't drink natural water. We either capture it as rainfall in a tank, or we capture it in a big catchment area, which is still rainfall, right? And then we pump it through straight pipes. And once upon a time, I dreamed up this notion that water was somehow superior in intelligence to the human being itself. Just bear with me for a second. And so therefore, if it was energyless, it would try to make up its energy shortfall somewhere between being pumped from the dam to the ocean again. And if we happen to be on that journey, then it had the right to take energy away from us. Anyway, I left that in philosophy land for years. And then recently we've just done these really elegant water experiments with bioelectrical impedance analysis and capnography. And I'd completely forgotten about it. And lo and behold, it totally is true for the complete mass of people in the middle of the graph that we measured. So in other words, the people that drink bad water literally get less energy and less thermodynamics, which is the entropy bit that I was talking about before. They get less well proportionately to how much water they drink. Now that's terrifying because every single physician out there in the whole world and every single person knows that drinking water is good and therefore drinking more water is better because you become more hydrated. Well, it's not the case. I'm sorry. And it will become very apparent in time that it's just not the case. That brings me to a question for you all is why do you even drink water? And I want to preface that question with one thing.
Well, hang on. You should touch on the fact that it's not just about drinking less water. It's about the type of water you're drinking.
Yeah, you got to drink. Well, this is what I'm touching on. If,
Right.
if
I was like,
don't
you
mind.
didn't cover that.
I'm not as chaotic as I look. But, like, why do you even drink water, right? And I want to give you, if I may, the thing that I was alluding to there is you produce, listening, 7,200 liters 7,200 liters of water per day inside your own body. Now you're thinking, well, fuck off. I'd be like an elephant. I'd be exploding. I'd be like a big water bomb. But it's just chemistry. Your body produces it, uses it, produces it, uses it, produces it, uses it. So if you produce that much water per day, why drink any water at all? And the answer, I normally wait for people to respond, but I don't feel like this is that kind of forum. The answer is because you need to resupply the raw materials for this amazing water-based energy system in your body. Literally, your cells function as electrolyzers and they create energy from splitting water apart and putting it back together. The Kangen device splits the water apart for you, so you don't have to do anything. And then you get the energy reclaimed from putting that back together. So the reason you drink water is to resupply the energy wheel. And the better that you resupply the energy wheel, the better your life is. The longer you live, the less sick you are. And so that's why I believe people need to drink water. And so therefore it becomes a question of, am I going to drink water that provides me with energy, or am I just going to go along with the company line that drinking water is good and not ask any more questions? So I put myself right out there for you guys. Fluoride is the most electronegative substance that we know on the periodic table. If you don't know what that means it's going to steal a shitload of electrons from you. So don't worry about blowing this into woo-woo land or anything like that about what fluoride might do to your pineal gland and all that kind of stuff. And it may have some topical dentate positive effects on enamel, but if you drink it, it will take electrons. Pure chemistry. So
what happens to fluoride when it goes through the Kangen device?
Well, it gets attracted to because it's electronegative, it gets attracted to the positive plates.
Yeah.
And so it goes down the spout you don't drink. Yeah. Okay, we'll get to that on the next slide or two. So I just touched on the thermodynamics experiment that we're doing, and frighteningly, the middle order of people that we did body weight adjusted hydration protocols for in normal sort of types of water, tap, fridge filters, Brita filters, a whole bunch of other sort of filters that I want to get into murky territory of sort of naming brands. But fundamentally water that isn't Kangen or spring directly from the spring. So even spring water that has been ferried in a bottle from its origin to the destination doesn't bear these qualities anymore. If you drink more water there, you have instantly, more or less, identifiable depreciation in your thermodynamic qualities of your cell in the way that we tested it. So the obvious choice is to drink water that has a huge energy content. And that's the system that we're offering you. Thanks, Mel. Next slide. So here's just a couple of rudimentary drawings. These have been lifted. The far right drawing has been lifted from a really seminal text on water and how it behaves in nature and in the body. So Gerald Pollack is the author. And it's become basically a household name in terms of the water industry. But when I first read it, it was extremely obscure. He figured out that the innate difference in the charge of the water was what was required to create the integrity and the electrochemistry of water movement in nature. So you ever wondered how a tree gets water from its roots up to the top? Well, it does that using these principles. It does that by basically pushing all of the most negatively charged water, which is the hydroxide bit that comes out of the drinking spout that you drink in the Kangen. The negatively charged water, it pushes that all the way out to the sides, leaving this gradual increase in positivity in the water to the middle. And it pushes this part of the water in a single direction. Our body uses the same system in our circulatory system. And so it seemed like if you had just normal sort of incoherent bulk water in the middle, the electrochemistry wouldn't run really well. So nature has this really cool way of making sure that it has all the negative water right up against the wall. This is the right-hand side drawing here for your information. Your cell does the same thing. And if it can get those electrons and that negatively charged water, like the hydroxide molecule, right up against the wall, then all the other water moves in a self-propagating fashion. You don't need any pumps, right? Trees don't have pumps. Trees don't have a heart. The heart doesn't work like that, but just for sort of linguistic convenience, it's like the heart in the body would kind of move that around, right? So we think, and our experiments seem to suggest, that the lack of electrons, we're not the first people to espouse this, by the way, the lack of electrons seems to be the most pressing debate for modern health. Very few people are in the sun. Very few people are touching the ground. Very few people drink negative ORP water. And so they're really not getting a whole bunch of electrons anymore. Yet the demands for moving the fluids around the body and charging the cell's battery and maintaining the negative millivoltage equilibrium of the cell haven't changed. So the answer is to drink something that gives you free energy, that gives you the electrons and gives you back some of the components of this complicated electrochemical network. So the two things that come out of the spout, which is the next slide, but don't go there just yet. The two things that come out of the spout is hydroxide, which goes right up against the cell wall, and hydronium, which is the next step. It's the next iteration. And you can see on the left-hand side of the page here, it's literally what we test for with something called phase angle, is how much water someone can get on the inside of their cell to create this really plump, full, expansive cell. I'll just give you a low ball analogy. Have you ever seen someone sort of walk around with really sort of shit posture? Well, you can probably guess that they're not operating at a really high, expansive kind of functional level when it comes to rotation and all that kind of stuff. Well, your cell is exactly the same. If your cell folds and it's crumpled, it loses the ability to communicate from cell to cell, from inside to outside, to generate energy, and really importantly, to make sure that the nuclear, the genetic material inside the cell has a fair suck at the sauce bottle to produce the next cell that looks somewhat like the cell it was meant to be. And we detour too far away from that, we end up having cells that really hurt us, right? So the more water we can get on the inside of the cell, the more charge we get into our body, the more electrons we can get into our body, the more chance we have of having cells that function like a battery and provide the energy that we require for life. Go to the next one, Mel. So the process that happens in the Kangen device is really similar to what actually happens in biology anyway. Your cell essentially creates a pole. It creates a negative and a positive charge, and it uses that. It uses light. It uses electricity from your bones and from your fascia, which is called piezoelectricity. It uses the light that comes from the bacterial presence in your gut and on your skin and the sun from outside, and that electricity to split the water in the first place. No problems. It splits the water and then it puts it back together in the mitochondria using the electron. Electron keeps coming back up through something called the electron transport chain to create the energy that you require for life to live through. And so when you do it with the Kangen, it's no different to what nature was already going to do, except we're just not getting that from the spring anymore. So we need to get that another way. So very, very quickly, because I've been jabbering, is there's two spouts. One spout with one type of plate that has a negative charge pulls certain amount, like magnets, right? You don't put two north-facing magnets together; they don't go together. You need a north and a south. It's exactly the same. It gently pulls the water apart and entices more of one type to go down one spout and more of another type to go down the other spout. And naturally, this changes the material that comes out of both spouts. So the one that we drink out of undergoes what's called hydrogen evolution, which produces, in purely chemical sort of writing, it produces hydrogen and hydroxide. And then that comes together to form mostly hydroxide and some hydronium, which is the bits that I explained on the previous slide. So the net effect is you get water that your body understands and knows what to do with, and you get heaps of electrons. So the more water that comes out of the spout that we drink has more electrons, which makes it more electropositive. And when it's more electropositive, it influences the pH scale, which is the potential of hydrogen. So you end up with a higher pH number, which is synonymous with a greater alkalinity. It's not really that important, except you need to have certain amounts of those things present for water to do what water was meant to do in the first place, right? Do you have anything to add? You happy with that?
Yep, that's great.
Are there any questions? Is this like a forum where people ask questions, or are we good to just roll
Not
through?
at this point, I don't think.
All right.
I
Okay.
think we'll definitely open it up later to, if there's any clarification or questions needed, we can absolutely do that at the end for sure.
Okay. No worries. Yep. Do you want to jump back in?
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So just to finish up the kind of more technical aspects of, I guess, the science and the chemistry and even the physics of the water, basically what Kangen water allows is an increased level of hydration, which allows for better waste elimination. I'm a colonic hydrotherapist, so waste elimination is something that I have spent many hours, but many years discussing with people, and not just via the colon, but via all our elimination pathways. Because if these pathways aren't open enough, and if we don't have a way in which our body can continually neutralize and eliminate toxins, then we become a storage house for that. So Kangen water allows for better waste elimination to then reduce the toxic burden on the body and those pathways. And then our bodies work more efficiently, our energy is better, our, what's it called? What I'm not currently possessing, brain power works better. And yeah, just all round better operation as a human being. Next slide, Mel. I think.
Yeah, thank you so much. Honestly, whose mind is like blown, like taken me down a chemistry lesson, which has even taken me to the depths of learning some extra stuff, which is awesome. I am about to bring on the beautiful Betsy. We are going to hear from Bets, and she's going to share her testimonial with us. So Betsy comes from a background of primary school teaching, and she transitioned to the health and wellness space due to her love and passion for it. And her love of movement and endometriosis sent her down the path of holistic living. And today she empowers women to do the same through low-tox living, movement, and her lifestyle programs. And water has become a huge part of her life in more ways than one. And she's super passionate about her magic and sharing the power of this water and their products. And she believes they are essential building blocks to health. So I'm going to get you to unmute, Bets, and I will just spotlight you. So that you can share your testimonial. Go for it, girl.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on, ladies. And I'll keep it short and sweet because I know everybody's time is very precious and our brain power has been used up a lot concentrating on the scientific side of things. So My background and my story is that I started using the Kangen machine over 2 years ago, and it was one of those moments where I learned about the knowledge of water and what was in our water and what a Kangen machine was, and I just knew I had to have it in my life. And coming from somebody who has had 10 years of trying to overcome an inflammatory disease called endometriosis, this has been one of the fundamental pillars in my health and wellness journey. And I 100% hand on my heart believe that the water has really allowed my body to, as Nicola said, eliminate what is not needed, and the cellular turnover, and just allowing my body to do what it was made to do, which is to naturally heal and get rid of toxicity out of the body. And if it wasn't for the Kangen water and the Kangen machine, not only would I be having the best health that I have now, but I wouldn't have found the community that I found. I wouldn't have a passionate business that I am passionate about. And I feel like I've really found my tribe and people who support me in no other way than this group of women. And it's like really, really empowering. So if I inspire just one person, then it will be worth it. And I want to spread the message as far and wide as I can. If anyone has any questions about the health journey, endometriosis, inflammatory diseases, and how I've integrated the water and other low-tox practices into my life, then I'm an open book. I would love to talk and share about that. So, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Thanks, beautiful. So good, and I can definitely resonate. We are both gone through the journey of suffering severe endometriosis, and we are both a testament for coming out the other end. And really, it is all about just making those choices to change and really eliminate and support our pathways to really heal, right? And when we put our body in the right environment, it does just that. Thank you so much, Bets. We're now going to hear from the amazing Lisa. And if you are there, I will just get you to unmute, my love. Lisa is a beautiful mum of 3 girls like myself, and she's an ex-fitness instructor, and she actually was diagnosed with lupus and myositis. She'll explain to you guys just in case. So this was due to a vaccine injury, and she's turned her passion deeper into healing and discovering what true health looks like for her and others, and now is an absolute lover of the water. Lisa, are you there, my love?
I am, my lovely. Hello.
Okay. I'm going to spotlight you. You have
Beautiful.
got the stage. Share your
Amazing.
amazing transformation.
There's so many similarities there. And I want to say thank you to Nico and Nick too, because I actually took heaps of notes. So it turns out there's still a lot more that I needed to know. I didn't even know until tonight. So like Mel said, I also, like Betsy, I've actually come from a fitness industry, and I was extremely fit. And when I had my vaccine injury, unfortunately, that turned very quickly within a 24-hour period, and then for the next several months was hospitalised several times, and diagnosed with lupus and myositis, both which are autoimmune inflammatory diseases. So they affect every part of my body. So I've gone from being very fit and active, solo mum of 3 girls, to crying myself to sleep every night, unable to roll over without being in intense pain. I couldn't even squat 90 degrees anymore, let alone run, walk fast, anything. So it was a very intense change in my life. And then somebody literally shared water with me and said, I want you to borrow my machine for a month. I think there's a business behind it for you because of your passion, but I want you to try the water. I couldn't even fathom the business side at the time. And she shared the water. And within that 30-day period, I was sold, because already I was starting to sleep better. My energy had increased. And that was the only thing I changed. I didn't want to go down the medication path for different reasons. and this changed my life. So very quickly I bought the machine, and I'm now exactly like you said, I'm a lover. I'm back to all my fitness, exactly the same thing, massive bushwalks, running. I've got 3 very active girls still on my own. I'm still doing my fitness instruction, and I've literally shared this with everybody. And like Betsy, I'm an open book. So I'm the same thing to help, because I've literally changed my life based on that. I now clean my whole house with my water. I know these guys are going to go into other ways to use it, but if there is there's 70 uses of this product, and I use them for all 70, I'm pretty sure. So it just very quickly changed my life. And I want to do hand on heart as well, because if we can just inspire one person to change their life based on one machine, it seems really ridiculous and far-fetched, but it has 100% changed my life. My 8-year-old calls it magic water. My pets drink it, and my 15 and 17-year-old literally don't go anywhere without it. So we are water snobs.
I love
100%
it.
like coffee snobs. So yeah, thank you for letting
I
me
love
share.
it. And please share, Lisa, you shared with me some extraordinary results after trialing the water for a month with your blood test results after, in regards
yeah.
to your inflammation markers, prior to
Yeah.
starting, after. Can you share that with the audience, please?
Yeah, so within just over 30 days, it was just under 50% improvement. Within 60, it was over 70%. And now I still do have different levels of inflammation. I'm unable to get rid of it altogether, unfortunately, and that's usually stress related. But my markers are 90% less than they were. Like, that's 90%, but that's insane. So when they check the marker levels, like, I haven't been hospitalized at all now. For 2.5 years. I've owned my machine for 3 years now, or just under 3 years. No hospital. I still do not medicate at all for any of it. And it literally is water, lifestyle, and reducing stress. And that's pretty insane.
It's amazing.
So,
amazing. Thank you so much
no worries. Thank you.
for sharing with us. I'm just going
Remute.
to make my screen sort itself out in a minute. Okay, I will. Okay, there we go. Stop that. Okay. Now we're going to hear from an amazing dad, Jade. Now, unfortunately, we couldn't get him on live, so he's recorded a video for us for his testimonial. Hopefully, you guys can hear it, but I'm gonna just run through. So Jade is actually the hubby of Ariana, who is actually in this business with us. Okay, she's a beautiful mum. They're a beautiful couple. And he's obviously a devoted father. His profession is an abalone diver. Like, I've never met an abalone diver. Okay, and in his job, he needs hydration for his body to be supported, because most of the time he's under the ocean, 7 meters down. I think we discussed this, 7 meters down, like, daily. He's a true lover and advocate for the water, but that wasn't the case. And it's just I'm so grateful that he was able to come on and share his story, because a lot of people think that, you know, all our partners are on board and they get it. And that's not the truth, because there are many couples that don't agree with the choices that the wife or the husband makes. And what's beautiful about this is that Jade has experienced not loving the water to absolutely not being able to shut up about the water, and is excited to just share that with the world and be able to support his wife now inside the business, confidently helping others to transform their life. So I'm going to press play with this. It is a little bit faint, guys, but just really try hard to listen and you'll hear his story.
I can't hear anything.
Okay. Can't hear anything. We thought this might happen. Okay, so I'm pretty much going to summarize it. So he started his journey drinking the Kangen water at 8.5, but he wasn't having a good experience at all. He was having severe detox symptoms, and he said that was partly due to his lifestyle, as well as also rushing the process of drinking it. So he just went too far. So we recommend a slower approach, especially different people, different lifestyles. So he pretty much was turned off. He did it for a little bit and then stopped it. And he started to look deeper into structured water, like what Nick was sharing, understanding a bit more about the water and really realizing that this was vital. This was vital for him, his job, and obviously his wife was in the business, and he really just wanted to give it another go. And also he was seeing other athletes around the world, athletes, not just professional athletes, but in high performance roles, drinking this water and having amazing benefits. So he decided to go in, but go a lot slower. So he went slower, starting with a couple of glasses a day and building that up. And what he found happened very quickly by doing this was that his energy went through the roof. He was buzzing. His clarity, he even mentioned his intuition, his gut, everything started to function better. And he noticed at work how much his performance, being under the ocean at 7 levels down, coming out, it's very taxing on his body. He said the energy that he has now coming out of his role is like nothing he's ever experienced before. And now he is totally sold. He's totally confident in actually partnering with his wife in this business and sharing this. And I'm really actually excited to have him on in the future. Just tonight didn't work out, and just really hear from him again. But this is really to share with you and show you guys that it doesn't always work out fabulous for everyone. Not everyone is always on the same page, but if we give it the opportunity and we trust the guidance and we listen to those that have gone before us, this can really, really change your life. So I just want to thank all of you guys for sharing your testimonials, and thanks for Jade for recording this for us. It's really nice to get a male in here and to really share that other side of it as well. So thank you so much. Okay, I'm gonna go on to really just share now this, what this device actually can produce for you. Like, we've heard the science, we've heard the chemistry, but our device produces 5 different types of water with over 60 plus uses for our health and homes, reducing toxicity and chemical load. And as Lisa shared, you can literally replace everything in your home. So all those sprays and chemicals that you're using from the supermarkets can get replaced all in one machine. And it produces the different alkalinities here. So the 2.5 pH strong acidic water does just that. So this 2.5 pH kills, it's actually called hypochlorous acid. And if you look up, I challenge you to actually look up hypochlorous acid and what this actually does, not just for killing 99.9% of bacteria, but it is also amazing for our skin and bacteria on our skin. So acne, in infections, wounds, all of that. It is absolutely amazing. So I use it on all my benchtop cleaning. Also, like I said, if there's any sort of infections, skin infections, all of that. And I do have my clients using it on their teenagers' acne that gets quite inflamed and infected, and the results are absolutely amazing. We also have 6.0 pH beauty water, which is also amazing. Works as an astringent on the skin. So you would know that, you use toners and all that with your skincare. This is also amazing at hydrating the skin. It's comes in my bag wherever I go. 7.0 pH clean water. We use this for example, like baby formula. If you're using formula, vitamins, any sort of medication, we use this setting for that, so that the body is absorbing it right and it's getting into the system correctly, not versus taking out. And then we've got our drinking water at 8.5 to 9.5 pH drinking water. This is the water that we consume. We start you off on 8.5, eventually getting you to 9.5. And then we've got our strong alkaline water, 11.5 pH. Now you would see, you may have watched me or many others use this water. This is amazing. This water is an emulsifier, okay? And when I say that, so we've got our fruit and our vegetables that are highly sprayed with pesticides and herbicides. And regardless whether it's organic or whatever, we know that soil is being compromised now in many more ways than one, right? So herbicides and pesticides are oil-based, okay? And we know water and oil do not mix. And the only way to truly, you know, people think that they take it off by vinegar washes and what's the other one? Baking soda, or bicarb soda, whatever. It does not work. And there's so many experiments to share that it does not emulsify these oils, right? So 11.5 pH is an emulsifier, and you can actually soak your fruits and vegetables in this water to emulsify those chemicals, allowing you to consume safe produce for you and your children. And I absolutely love this water. I absolutely love that it gives us the opportunity to not only drink this water, but to have to not hold toxicity in our home, to get rid of that chemical load and off our produce, as well as, you know, not just in our home, but putting that in our body. We know that it's safe. Okay, why magic, guys? And I get excited sharing about this because I'm so passionate about this company. It's a long-standing company that is turning 50 years this year with a 500-year vision to bring health and wealth to people all around the world. It is a patented product and compensation plan. Nothing like it in the world, guys. Also, the only water ionizer globally with a medical grade certificate in Japan. Original equipment manufacturer, and only 1% of the population know about ionization and the benefits of this water. So you can imagine now, this is just exploding, and there is so many people that are yet to experience the magic of Enagic. So it's a global business with distribution rights in over 85 countries, and we have local offices in over 50 countries, including right here in Sydney, Australia. So I'm going to get into the investment, and we said that this is a no fluff webinar. We want you to leave with all the information. We're not holding back anything here. We are transparent, and we are sharing it with you all so that you can walk away feeling empowered. You've got all the answers that you need, and you may have a few questions that we're so open to answering at the end of this. But the K8, as the machine gear that we've been speaking about, the ionizer, is 5,907 AUD plus shipping. It literally equals $1 a day, guys. And if you don't have the funds to pay that outright, we offer finance options. They're available to absolutely everyone. And it comes with a 5-year warranty on parts and labor, guys. So what people ask, what's the maintenance? What are the costs, the ongoing costs of this? And I'm here to tell you, not many at all. And it was a big shock to me because I thought, oh, surely, like, to maintain a machine at this level of investment, you know, it's going to cost a lot. But you really only need to be changing your filter. Roughly, I change my filter every 10 months to a year max, okay? And that filter replacement is about $165 AUD. The electrolysis enhancer solution, which fires up our 11.5 and 2.5, is $4 AUD per bottle. And your e-cleaning solution, which we recommend that you're e-cleaning it every two weeks, that is only like, I think it's like $6 or, yeah, between $6 and $15, something like that. And your deep cleaning by Enagic, which means you get to send your machine in once a year for a service where they open up your machine, they check on those titanium plates, they make sure that everything is in working order, they clean the machine, they do it all for you once a year, which we highly recommend to actually uphold your warranty as well. That costs $40 plus shipping, guys. And I want to speak to this, why we're sharing this too, because so many people are either sitting on the fence, unsure, and we really brought this webinar to give you some more clarity so that you can actually get the information that you need. And also, Enagic has not increased their prices in 14 years, guys. In 14 years, a company like this has never increased their prices. Everywhere else in the world increased their prices, and Anagic Australia was going to increase them last year, but they withheld. But now, coming from the 1st of May, this price currently that you see here is increasing by 15%. So if this is something that you've been wanting, that you've been waiting, that you've been sitting on the fence, you've been questioning, unsure, procrastinating, now is the time to do that before the price increase. So 14 years they haven't done it, but they have no choice now to keep up with the rest of the world and the increasing costs and all of that. So the 1st of May, that is happening. So if this is something that you truly see the value in, and you really know after experiencing what you have on this webinar tonight, this is something that you know and need in your life, then this is the time. So that's you, and you've really, really enjoyed this, and you're ready to take the next steps. We encourage you to reach out to the person that invited you to this webinar and book in a clarity call, or even if you just know that it's a yes, say, yes, I'm in, what are the next steps? You may want to ask the questions, which I'm going to open it up now so that you can have we'll take a few questions, and I think that might be great for the audience as well, so that you can come to a decision for yourself and your family. And then you'll also have the option to apply for finance if you need it, okay? There is still interest-free finance up until Monday or Tuesday coming, but we also have other options of finance to suit your family and your expenses, and they work with you to tailor a package that's going to get you over the line. So we have an in-house finance team for that. So I hope you guys have really enjoyed that. I am going to stop sharing now and come back to you all. And please, if there is anyone that is wanting to ask a question, I love you guys. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful for you guys being on. If there are any questions, I'll give it a second. Please just unmute yourself, or if you know how to use the little hand sign, go ahead. If not, we can finish it up. What is it? It's been just a little over an hour. How good is that? I think we did super, super well. And these things are always going to go a little bit longer because of the level of information that needs to be appreciated so that we can understand, things on a level, because these things can get thrown around so much on the internet, right? And we think that we know things, and we don't until we actually dive in and go, hey, I'm an open book. Let me absorb information that's going to benefit me. So I hope that you guys can take away something tonight. Please reach out to the person that added you here and have the conversation. Dive in, say yes to your health, to your future, to your family, because this will be the best investment that you ever make for yourself and your family. Thank you so much, guys. We'll speak to you soon.